In the MotoAmerica Supersport class, we've already seen racing at Barber Motorsport Park, Road Atlanta, and last time out at Road America. PJ Jacobson leads the standings, but it's been a competitive Supersport class this season. Steve English and Roger Lee Hayden bringing you through the session, and we've also got Michael Hill down in the pits. And Mike, you've got a little bit of news for us ahead of this Supersport session.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just made it down here. My goodness me, it's just as well I go to the gym 10 times a week, isn't it? We're down here. This is Alessandro Di Mario. We saw him briefly on our show a few moments ago. He's now just literally trying out this V2 Panigale. Simone here from the team that works with him as well. Looking as cool as a cucumber. Di Mario down here with big smiles. This is a massive opportunity. We are still going to be seeing Cam Peterson on track, but we are going to see a second Warhorse machine, and that is for the reigning champion. That is Alessandro Di Mario in Twins Cup. It's such an opportunity. We're not going to go and stick a microphone in Alessandro's face. If this was later in the weekend, we would. He is a very, very nervous mum over here. This is Alessandro's mum. And can I talk to you really quickly, just very quickly? What an opportunity for Alessandro. We're not going to talk to him because he's about to go and ride his bike. How are you feeling?
I'm very nervous. We didn't expect this, so it was a surprise for us, but I'm happy because he loves to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for talking to us. Of course, Dad Luigi. I'm going to try and quickly grab a word with somebody from the team just to get the official word. Josh Herron is down here. We're going to talk to Bobby, who we're going to talk to. Let's talk to you very quickly. We can see down here, obviously, the breaking news. There's going to be two bikes on the circuit. Alessandro Di Mario gets an opportunity. Just tell us the reasoning behind that so we get it official.
Cam had an injury coming into this weekend from a test after Road America. So he's hurting a little bit. So he said, you know what, go out and try it. And that's opened the door then to bring Alessandro in and give him this practice session so we have him registered in case we need him for tomorrow. So it's just one session. Let him get out there, get a feel on Cam's backup bike, and then we'll make the decision later for tomorrow.
And again, just so we're clear as well, my understanding in the rules is you can only field one bike, so you have to make a decision. It will either be Cam that continues or you'll switch him out for Alessandro, if I've understood correctly.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, thank you for talking to us. Let's get back upstairs. This session is about to get underway. Well, there you go, Steve. Drama aplenty. And Alessandro Di Mario, he's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And Rog, obviously, for Di Mario, he's now in a really tricky situation where there mightn't be any pressure on him, but you're in completely at the deep end.
Yeah, and you can see right now, I mean, they're getting the handlebars and the foot pegs, and I mean, they've never even sat on this bike before, so it's a big challenge for Alessandro. But such a young talent, it's going to be great to see what he can do.
Yeah, he's had a really strong start to the season, just like we've seen in the Supersport class up to now as well. 3 different manufacturers up there inside the top 3 positions. PJ Jacobson leading the standings by 20 points, having been on the podium in every race so far through the course of this season. And it's been a really good Supersport campaign. We've got the new Yamaha R9 in action for this season as well, Rog. And when we saw last time out at Road America, we saw just how competitive the Supersport class can be.
So competitive this year, so many good riders, and also different brands, as we'll see when we head back to these highlights there. And always Supersport at Road America comes down to a drafting battle. You see Tyler Scott there on the Suzuki. Really good qualifying for him on the pole position, but not a great start. See, he slides into about 5th coming out of the first corner. See Cam Peterson there on the red Ducati. Blake Davis, great ride by him, his teammate Matthew Sports. Just a big battle early on. All these guys drafted back and forth. They're here in Canada corner. Cam Peterson makes a pass, but not able to get it slowed down. But he didn't lose a lot. You can see Cam is still right there on the back of this battle. You see PJ Jacobson there on the yellow Ducati working his way a little bit closer to this 5-rider battle now as this race is starting to wind down. You see the draft from the Ducati headed down in the Canada corner. In this part of the race, everybody's just trying to figure out where they want to be as this race winds down, what their bike's like in the draft. See Matthew Sports there trying to put himself in the right spot last lap. Last corner, Matt didn't feel like he could get the draft, so he tried to make the block pass on Blake. Really good drive out of Blake out of that last corner, able to hold on. And what a great win for Blake Davis.
Yeah, great win for Blake on that number 22 machine last time out. Podiums as well at the opening round of the year at Barber and also at Road Atlanta. So it's been a really strong start to the season for Blake Davis. And what we've seen over the course of the year so far is that everyone's going to have a chance to be at the front in the Supersport class. Lots of fast riders that are able to contend. PJ Jacobson, former World Supersport Championship rider, out there leading the way by 20 points from last year's champion Matthew Scalz. And then Tyler Scott on the Suzuki up there as well. 3 different manufacturers up there. the next gen rules, they work really well in the Supersport class, Rog.
They work really well. You see Blake Davis there, 4th in points, 48 points back. He needs to start clawing some points back in the middle of the season.
Yeah, the clock ticks down very quickly in the course of a 9-round season, so really important this weekend to be able to make that bit of a step. Matthew Scull, 2nd in the championship. Last year, he was the champion. In this morning's pre-practice session, he led the way by half a second from PJ Jacobson. Jake Lewis up there as well on the Yamaha, and then for Tyler Scott, the leading Suzuki rider, down there in 8th spot, and then Josh Hayes still running up inside the top 10. What are you expecting for this weekend, Rog?
Well, I think for Matt, he's going to be really tough this week. He's really good on these technical tracks. He was really fast here last year. Seems like he's really gelling well with the new Yamaha, and that Strack Racing teams did a great job. So I think Matt is going to be tough this weekend.
Yeah, I like what I've seen from him so far this season, and so far this weekend, the man to beat. And we know the times that are going to get faster and faster as we go on, and that looks like it's... And just ran off the track. And Rog, now at the start of this session, he needs to be able to get himself back, Max, but this is where it gets tricky. You can lose a lot of time very quickly.
Just need to try to, it's really hard not to kind of bury the bike. The corner workers there are going to start giving him a push, but he did a great job keeping it up. As you see here, he's right behind his teammate Tyler Scott as he's heading up. Just look at that.
Just runs over that inside curb, Rod.
What a save.
We've seen this a lot so far this weekend, that those curbs can come back to bite you.
Yeah, that was a great save. I was not expecting him to lose the front like that, and for him, what a scary moment. It is so fast, top of that hill, and man, what another, how many times did he save it?
I think it was about 3 saves in the middle of that one, and at least for Max, he's been able to get himself back on track, as we can see, and you'd imagine he'd be coming back to the pits pretty quickly. Michael Hill down in the pits as well. Mike, you've got a bit more news and a bit more information on Alessandro Di Mario.
Yeah, I have indeed, Steve. Just chatting to the team and a couple of other representatives down here who were just saying, well, this is going to be a pretty impressive debut. Let's see how he gets on. Just to be told that this is not the first time that Alessandro Di Mario has ridden the Supersport bike. Apparently, he has done a test at New Jersey. Don't know how long ago that was, but at least he has ridden the Supersport bike. So it's not necessarily going to frighten the life out of him when he opens the throttle. He is going to be aware of how fast these things go. So not necessarily a debut ride, but certainly a debut weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. I think he's going to be somewhere close to the top 12, top 13 possibly, would be my prediction.
Thanks, Mike. And we're looking at Alessandro now on the Panigale V-twin. And Rog, when you look at what Alessandro's going to face this weekend, it really is a case of just try and figure out your way on this bike for this session. It's a short session, though, to try and get yourself up to speed, only 30 minutes. And as we heard from down in the pits, it's one of those situations where it's easy to lose a bit of time. It's easy to have some issues, but out there on a very different type of bike this weekend.
Yeah, and also on a backup bike. See them out of the chicane there, just trying to get a good drive out of there. But man, this is a big battle for Alessandro. Not only to not have a lot of seat time on this bike, everybody else has been riding their race bikes all year, and then you spot everyone in the session this morning by not being out. I think for him, just learn something for the day he does move to Supersport and be able to take something with you.
Yeah, and you can see there for Alessandro as well, just how easy it is for things to go wrong this early in the session as well, but able to collect it and just try and get that information. During the course of your career, Rog, did you ever experience anything like this for yourself?
A little bit when I actually filled in at Laguna on the LCR Honda, and they only had one practice on Friday, and I never rode the bike before, so it was kind of difficult only having one session on Friday to go out and do a MotoGP event on a MotoGP bike I never rode before.
Yeah, no, obviously not. Whenever you're in a situation like that, you're trying to give yourself the chance to have the best result possible. You're trying to put your best foot forward. And for the team, they're also looking at it from, we don't want to have any more work as well. So there's a real balancing act for you. And you can see Corey Alexander here as well, just coming through the end of the lap. Corey's just after jumping off his Hooligans bike and now straight out onto the Supersport bike.
Yeah, and for Corey, this is a good track for him. As you can see, a really good lap for him now inside that top 3. Kayla Yakov, his teammate, got her first Supersport podium here last year. She has started this weekend right where she left off last year here.
Yeah, just looking at the times as well for Matthew Sculls, our fastest rider in this session so far, around about a half a second off of his times from this morning as well. And we'd expect to be able to find an awful lot more time down there as well. And Mike, you're down in the pits, and you got Max Van down there after his moment on his outlap.
Yeah, absolutely have. The talk about changing your underpants in the middle of a session. Max Van, we talk about Marc Marquez making saves. I've got to say, that is probably the biggest MotoAmerica save that I've ever seen in the 7 or 8 years I've been here. Talk us through that.
You know, if I'm being honest, it was definitely a little nerve-wracking. Going up that hill, I think I hit a gust of wind and I tucked the front. And if I'm being honest, I did shit my pants a little bit, but we're here, clean off the bike, reset myself, and we'll go out and try and run some fast lap times.
Excellent, thank you. Apologies for the language, but you can let him off with that. Impressive stuff. Steve, I mean, we've commentated and seen many saves. That was something else.
Yeah, some save there from Max. And Rog, at the time, it looked like when he loses that front, that's the first one. But look at this even at the end.
Yeah, continue. Here he is going to save it again once it goes into the grass. Now watch when he gets to the sand. You got to think this is not a motocross bike. These bikes are not made for that. And just a great save by him. And I bet that heart rate was pumping.
At least it doesn't classify as a crash as well. It just classifies as running off the track there for Max. But you can see for the team as well, they're able to laugh and joke about it now because there isn't that much more work to be done. But for them, they've also still got that 30-minute session to be able to try and go out there, set a time. Obviously, for qualifying here in MotoAmerica, Rog, the combined times from today and tomorrow set the grid.
And qualifying here, it's important everywhere, but when you go to a track like the Ridge where it's hard to pass, qualifying becomes even that much more important because you don't want to fall back early on into the race. We talk a lot, too, about the chicane as we're going to see PJ come through here on the start. The further up the grid you are, the less possibilities of you getting caught up in somebody else's mistake through there.
And for you, Rog, as well, obviously you're very experienced across all the different tracks we go to in MotoAmerica. This is one of the few places where you've been able to go out and do a school day here, but different whenever you're out there in a race weekend.
Yeah, very different. And one thing I learned when I did come to this track to do a school was how hard it was to learn, how technical this track was. With the elevation through that first part, a lot of blind corners, was a really difficult track to find those marks.
Yeah, it is one of those challenges whenever you've got so much undulation that it's very easy to misjudge where you need to be, and you need to have enough markers all the way around the track to be able to really understand your peel-in points and where you need to be at any given time.
And also too, that some of the top of the rises where you're wide open here on this track, you can't see the next corner, so those reference points and just hitting those marks is so important. Also, this track, a lot of the corners run together, so if you mess up the very first corner, you mess up the next 3 or 4, so it's just tough to be precise.
And what about the surface around here as well?
It's newer, so the surface is nice. You'll notice a couple bumps maybe getting into the chicane, and we see Alessandro Di Mario. He's going to get his welcome to the Supersport class moment right here. He's got the champ behind him.
Yeah, he's not going to have him behind him for too long, but at least you're going to be able to learn from Matthew Scholes as well. And Di Mario lets Scholes through into turn 1, and this is where it becomes really important for Di Mario to be able to use his time to be able to gain that bit of experience. And when you look at Matthew, you can see just how good he is on a Supersport bike.
Yeah, look at Matt. You can see how hard he's pushing. That was the same spot where Max Van had his big save as they head up into turn 11 through there and just backing it in. You can see how critical the bike setup is at this track.
And you can see Matt still trying to make his way around, and he's put a lot of distance already between himself and Alessandro Di Mario. Fast time in this session so far, still Matt Scholes at 43.3, so a good lap right from the start there from Matt. And if you want to play MotoAmerica for cash, Superbikes, Baggers, Supersport are all now live on the top sportsbook and DFS platforms. Scan the flow code or visit nxtbets.com/PlayMA to see what's available in your location, where you can sign up, claim exclusive bonuses, and make your picks now. And you'd be hard pressed to bet against Matt this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to bet against Matt, just the pace. Even this morning, at one point toward the end of the session, he was a second quicker than the rest of the group, so he's going to be tough. But you never know with this class, with PJ and Jake Lewis, Corey Alexander, all those guys, Blake Davis, they're such a talent.
Well, Kayla Yakov, very impressive as well on the number 19 machine. Kayla third fastest right now, as you can see on the timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen. But what's good about Kayla is she's found over a second compared to this morning as well. She's been able to go 1.2 seconds faster than she did in this morning session. So great to be able to see that sort of a step being made. Obviously enough, we've got the Ducatis up there, second and third fastest, with the Yamahas first and fourth fastest. Matt Scholes now with his fastest lap of the weekend as well, and he suddenly found half a second on the field. But PJ finding a bit of time now as well.
Yeah, and PJ made some changes from this morning. Looks like he's getting up to speed a little bit more. Looks like he's struggling with grip a little bit. You see the bikes moving around quite a bit through there.
Yeah, and for that Panigale Beach win, you can see for Jacobson on the run down in towards turn 1, 2/10 of a second now down on Skull's fastest time and edging himself down in towards those 42s as well. And 42s going some around here on a Supersport bike. When you look, Roger, at the lap record for Supersport, a 42.5 was last year from PJ Jacobson.
And for Blake there, it looks like he's trying to get a little clean track through the toward the end of this session. But as you said, the track record down in the 42s, these riders are already pretty close to that in the beginning of this qualifying. And just such a tough class. But you see, like Jake Lewis, there's a bit of a gap to force. So all those guys behind PJ, they need to find a little bit of time as they're second by.
Yeah, and obviously for someone like Corey Alexander, he'd expect to be able to find a little bit of time now on his bike as well. 1.2 seconds down, and it's very quick in the course of a 30-minute session where you put yourself under that pressure to find that time. As we can see here now for Blake Davis, teammate to Matthew Skulls. And Blake doing a good job. We saw he was able to win last time out in Road America, Rog, and he's been able to put together some really good rides, 4th in the championship so far.
Yeah, we mentioned at the beginning of this session, Alessandro Di Mario, the talent that he is, but Blake Davis is in that same boat as well. Just such a young guy moving up to this track racing team. I think it's going to be huge for his career to be able to watch and learn from a teammate that he has now. As Matt's just, the scary thing for the competition with Matt is he's backing these 42s up.
Yeah, and once you're able to consistently run in those 42s, you're going to be very hard to catch, and that's why Matt's been able to put round about a half a second on quite a lot of the field already. And Kaylee Jakob doing a good job on her last lap, 43.5, just to be able to move a little bit closer to the front as well. So it is getting tighter and tighter right there, but Matt's just got that little bit of an edge right now as Blake Davis makes his way around as well on the 22. And when you look at what Blake's been able to do this year, Rog, he's in 3 podiums, including that win last time out. But the non-score in Road America, that's one that does put quite the blot in the copybook this early in the campaign.
Yeah, and that's just a tough blow as well for that, because it kind of came together. It wasn't really Blake's fault. So unfortunately for him, he didn't get any points, and now he's got a hole to dig.
Yeah, and doing a good job on this one so far and trying to find a little bit of time. Mike, you're still down in the pits. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so a little bit of news for our British fans. I know there's quite a few people from over the pond tuning in, and all eyes on the 311 of Luca Allen. Unfortunately, Luca, who has been in the points a couple of times already this season for the CW Moto Kawasaki, his first time riding here, he went down on lap 5 this morning at turn 7, made a bit of a mess of the bike. The good news is that he is okay. The team are working super hard. They've even enlisted current front runner in stock 1000, Jason Uribe, to help with the rebuild. They are frantically working in the paddock at the moment to try to fix the bike to get Luca Allen out. He's not on track at the moment, and with just over 15 minutes remaining, I'm not sure we will see him. We will see him tomorrow, but at the moment things are not looking as though he's going to be out in this one. But just thought we'd give him a shout out, and kudos to the CW team. It's their local race, and fingers crossed they can get him out.
Yeah, obviously for Luca, big crash on his first flying lap this morning. And when you look at what we're seeing now during the course of this session, Rog, one of the things that's been quite interesting when you spoke to riders after the Superbike session, tyres were a big problem for some of the riders, and it's a lot cooler now than we would expect this time of year, and that's proved to be a little bit of an issue for a lot of teams out there so far.
Yeah, a lot of people struggling this morning with the tires cold tearing, which is basically it makes the tire feel like there's a lot of laps on it when there's not. They start losing the grip, and I know a lot of riders in all the classes, and also there's a tire rule, so you can't just keep putting new tires on the bike, so you really got to adjust that and work with that with the team, and one of those things that these riders and crews gotta account for.
Yeah, you can see Josh Hayes now on the number 4 machine. Josh, 10th fastest in this session. We'll see if he's able to improve in this lap. Doesn't look like he's on course to improve, but 44.6 for Josh, so round about 1.8 seconds off the fastest time of Matt Scholes. And we can see what's happening for Josh on that last lap, Rog. Just having to scrub off an awful lot of speed into there. You can hear that across the bikes.
And what you hear there is the engine braking going down into first gear for these. You know, they're right on the limiter, and then they go back to first gear, and then what's making that rear end of that bike and that chatter that you hear is the rear wheel actually locking up.
And you can see for Josh now as he continues around. And just when you look at a track like this as well, Rog, what's the shift pattern like around here? Are you getting yourself up into 6th, or is this a second to 5th kind of track?
Kind of a second to 5th, with the straightaway is really short there on the front straight, so I don't think we'll see many of these guys using 6th gear, but you try to eliminate as many shifts as possible.
Obviously enough every lap. If you're able to save 1 or 2 shifts, it gives you that extra bit of momentum out there. And we're now catching up with the number 30 machine, and Ogiwara, the Japanese rider, out there as well. And you can see here as they make their way around just how tricky it is. And Rod, you spoke earlier about just how technical it is out here, and this is a track that makes it quite difficult for the riders to be able to fully get themselves up to speed.
Yeah, and this track's really hard to learn as well, and then also get up to speed. We mentioned a lot of it being about the elevation and then being tight and technical, and that makes it really hard for some of these younger riders, that don't have a ton of experience.
Yeah, and 18th fastest in this session for Ogiwara as he makes his way around through the end of the lap. We were around about halfway through this session as well, just coming up towards the last 10 minutes of this 30-minute session. And Rog, when you look at what the weather's been doing so far this weekend, we had a lot of rain yesterday whenever everyone was getting set up, and then into today it's been cold, it's been cloudy, there's been a few spits of rain. Everyone's a little bit uncertain about what the weather's going to do over the weekend, so it does become important to be able to get in a banker lap here in the qualifying.
And also, it's going to be warmer tomorrow, so what you learned today might not translate, and then even warmer again on Sunday, so it's going to make it a little bit more challenging for these guys. But Matthews Goltz, look at that lap time of 42.2. That is an outright track record. Previously, PJ had it at a 42.5, and Matt goes out there and lowers it by a couple tenths.
Yeah, really good lap from Matt to be able to go and do that. And we're catching back up with Arigawa.
Yeah, just out of the chicane there, a little bit wide, and you can see the same thing we see with Alessandro Di Mario there. You're on the edge of the tire, and you're trying to, get all the power down. You got to make sure that bike's on the side of the tire.
Yeah, and obviously we also saw a lot of chatter on the front at the end of the lap from the number 30 machine, and you can see a fair bit of movement there as it comes down in towards the end of the lap. But we're just hearing from down in the pits as well from Michael Hill that Kaylee Yakov and PJ Jacobson have gone out together. Obviously, Rog, both of them teammates, and we're just seeing them now leaving with Corey Alexander as well, the 3 teammates. It is important to have that partner out there.
Yeah, it's really important, and also for, if your teammate's a couple tenths quicker than you, to be out there and follow and see what they're doing better, what lines they might be using, especially when you follow your teammate. They're on the exact same bike that you have. So things they're doing better, you can too.
Yeah, it doesn't always make a good feeling for you whenever you see it, but whenever you're able to go out there and follow, you are able to learn an awful lot. PJ's the lead rider here on the rail bikes as they complete their outlap, but you can see for Matt Scholes down there in the pits as well, and I'm sure the team are saying that's a pretty good time there. New outright lap record. They don't want him to be going out there pushing too much harder than that at this stage of the weekend, but Matt's feeling good, and this is the balancing point that a rider has as well, Rog, because when you feel good, you want to push harder, you want to keep going better, but for the team, they want to make sure that you're able to get what you need from the qualifying session.
Yeah, as well. And also you could see they're putting another fresh rear Dunlop tire on the back as well, so he's got to make sure he's 8 tenths quicker. He's going to want to see if he can just put a little bit more pressure on the rest of the competition.
Yeah, a little bit more pressure. They're already under the cosh at this stage. But one of the problems for a rider whenever they have this much of a cushion as well, Rog, everywhere the bike feels good and they try and push on a little bit harder, and you can find yourself at that limit very quickly, and it only takes that 1 meter later on the brakes and suddenly that limit just finds you.
And I think with Matt and his experience, he's able to kind of justify when to take those chances and when to not. But right now you can just see he's got his head down so far this weekend. We talked a lot of it about how strong he was this weekend, and he's showing it.
Yeah, he's doing a great job in this session as PJ Jacobson gets ready to start his first flying lap of this stint. And for PJ on that number 15 bike, we've been able to see him through the course of this year on the podium every round, and just the 2 victories at Road America and Road Atlanta. And for Jacobson, this is a big season as well, Rog, because he's expected to be that champion in the Supersport class, and that brings with it a lot of expectation from the team.
And for PJ as well, he wants to win this title. He mentioned it this morning on the pre-show, what this championship would mean to him. So there is a little bit of pressure, but PJ's consistency this year has been pretty outstanding there on the podium each round.
Yeah, I always thought when PJ was in World Supersport, he was always on the verge of putting together a really good season and showing just how good he is on a Supersport bike. And at a certain point, you do want to get the chance just to be able to win races, and it's good to be able to see PJ able to get the most out of himself. But he's had a lot of success at different times in his career. Even when you look at the Suzuka 8 Hours, he was a Honda rider there. He's been able to ride superbikes, and obviously in the Supersport class, that's the one that really suits him.
You can see that second sector there, he lost about a half a second. So that's one of those, not sure if he made a mistake, but he talked about, you know, what can riders improve on during the session. They can see and look at these sectors and be like, the first one, we're only 2/10 up. The second one, we're half a second. We got some work to do there.
Yeah, what's interesting with it as well, 35.1 in that section, in that sector, and it's only a tenth that seems down on what his fastest time is as well. So in and around the same sort of pace as Kaliakov in that middle sector, but like you said, just giving up so much ground. And then in that final sector, pretty much matching the pace of Matt as well. So all in that middle sector where PJ needs to find something. And we'll see what Kaliakov is able to do. She's just about to come across the line on the number 19 machine, and if she's able to improve in her time as well. But for Kayla, 43.5 on her fastest lap of the session so far. And you can see just finishing off her lap now. But for Yakov, it's been an impressive start to the campaign as well, and she's been able to build herself up nicely. Came to a little bit of a mistake there, just turned in a bit too early, it looked like, Raj.
Yeah, you can just tell everybody's pushing that extra little bit here toward the end of this qualifier, trying to find every tenth they can possibly get. But for Kayla, you know, she's had some really good races this year. And I go back to MotoAmerica when she was in that battle in that first race early on. She's still super young to already be in Supersport, and the opportunity she has with some great teammates. She's just slowly getting better and chipping away at it.
Yeah, she's had 4 top 6 finishes already this season as well, so good consistency from her on that Ducati. And we've got a crasher down now as well, and the rider just trying to catch their breath as well. It looks like it's Joel Doman down there as well, the number 692, and you can see as well, Raj, just how easy it is to have that crash, but also just how far the bikes can actually travel here as well.
Yeah, the bikes here go really far, and it's just great to see the rider. You can see he kind of knocked the wind out of him a little bit, but his session's going to be over, but at least he's up and okay. Yeah,
up and okay, and just over 5 minutes left in this session as well as Kayla Yakov makes her way around. And one of the things that I found impressive about Kayla is she wants to stay here to win in Supersport. Obviously, there was the opportunities to move to the World WCR as well, but she wants to give herself the opportunity here in the Supersport machine.
Yeah, and just the Rahal team, she has so much backing as well, and I think that's a big benefit to have for Kayla, and she can use.
Mike, down in the pits, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Kayla Yakov then. A good session from Kayla, twice on the podium last year, of course. Matthew Skoltz and PJ Jacobson, 1 and 2 last year. Here is a replay. This is the previous lap. Almost loses the front. She managed. It was the back, in fact. My apologies. It was the rear. The rear that went. She managed to hold on. A little shake of the head coming up here from Kayla, as if to say, well, that almost bit me, but she continues. One thing that I'm just looking at, guys, obviously seeing the same pictures that you are as PJ Jacobson on the screen in terms of the graphic is faster now than Matthew Skoltz. We haven't seen much in this session of Tyler Scott. It's been very much a Yamaha versus Ducati battle. It's Yamaha, Ducati, Ducati, Yamaha, Ducati, Ducati, then a couple of Yamahas as Jacobson then goes through on the inside of DeMario. But Tyler Scott, the lead Suzuki, down in 9th position. Thoughts, Roger, on that one? 2.3 seconds off the pace. I would have thought he'd have been a bit closer.
Yeah, I would have thought he'd been a little bit closer for Tyler. He was 8th this morning as well, so obviously just struggling with something with bike setup or whatever it is. And also he's coming in with a little momentum. He's won that Loudon Classic last weekend. So for Tyler, it's a little bit of a head scratcher so far, but obviously they're working something out.
Yeah, he's found 7/10 of a second from this morning as well, so making some progress out there as PJ Jacobson tries to make his progress. We saw a shake of the head when he caught DeMario in the middle of the lap, but Alessandro actually doing a good job. 13th fastest in this and a 45.8, so solid enough performance considering his lack of experience on the Ducati V-twin. But for PJ Jacobson, let's see what he can do into his next lap. He was fastest of all in Sector 1, and we'll see if he's able to match that as well now as Corey Alexander makes his way through on traffic. And Rod, you mentioned it earlier on in the session about how difficult it is over some of those blind crests. When you've got to react for the riders around you as well, makes it even more difficult. Corey was able to cut through well.
And that's toward the end of these qualifiers. That's why it's so important to look back and be respectful to your competitors and not pull right out on the track and hold them up.
Yeah, exactly. And for Corey on the number 23 machine, still 4th fastest in this one. So the rail bikes 2nd, 3rd and 4th fastest. PJ on his next flying lap hasn't found time in that first sector, around about a 10th of a second slower than he went last time around. But Rog, I know you've been interested to see what he was doing in the 2nd sector. Yeah,
in last lap he got caught up in a little bit of traffic, so it was really hard to tell. That's where he came into Mario. So, you know, he's got the first sector down, I think, and now he's trying to move on and figure out where else we can find a couple tenths.
Yeah, PJ looks like he's just trying to create a little bit of space out there as well. Obviously, DeMario behind them, and then Corey Alexander as well. And just coming into the final sector now as well. PJ's just trying to give himself that chance to have some room for 2 flying laps left in the session as he makes his way through this final couple of corners. And Roger, when you look at how the riders attack into that last right-hander as well, they're all running right over those inside curves.
Yeah, they're trying to make it as straight as possible, make it that straightaway a little bit longer where they don't have to slow down as much. That's why you see them go over those curves like that. They're trying to make that chicane as straight as possible.
And we can see DeMario now on that number 27 machine, up into 12th fastest now as well. So for DeMario, solid job here so far. And we know that the Ducati Twin's a great bike and a great package, but DeMario's doing a decent job here on this one. It's always tough to jump straight in, and it's always tough as well to know what the expectation should be for him and for the team. But obviously he had that little bit of a mistake at the start of the session, but since then he looks like he's been able to build in a bit of confidence.
And it's tough too as a young rider to be in your first Supersport qualifying session is these last 10 minutes when these riders are able to go out and find those extra couple tenths.
Yeah, you got to be able to put it all out there and just bite the screen and set that fast lap time. As we're seeing PJ once again out there in that first sector, Rog, able to have a red sector, but it's all about this middle sector again.
Yeah, we're going to see what he can do here as he heads up toward 11. First sector, the second sector will pop up after this, but this first one, he's got it dialed in, and we'll see what PJ can do as he heads on. Loses a couple tenths there in that second sector, better than half a second, but still room for improvement.
Yeah, PJ, his fastest lap in the session of 42.9, and he's around about 3/4 of a second down on the pace of Matthew Scholes, but for PJ at least this is around about half a second faster than he's gone so far, so we're starting to see that from Jacobson, but this is also the 3rd or 4th lap of this stint as well. When you're in the qualifying sessions with these Dunlop tyres and the Supersport bike, do you have much of a drop off in the tyre?
Yeah, you do, especially at track. We talked earlier about the co-tearing and the tires going off. It's warmer this afternoon, so that's going to help, but the grip definitely is going to fall off a little bit as PJ does his best lap now at a 42.5.
Yeah, and for Jacobson, good effort. We also saw Hobbs has put in his fastest lap of the session, and a few other riders improving now right at the end of this session. Most riders now into their last lap. Blake Davis we catch up with here on the number 22 machine. He'll have enough time for one more lap in this session. Once you start the lap before the checkered flag goes out, you can finish that lap. So Blake will have time for one more. He's just moved up to 5th fastest as well. And 4th fastest there for Blake Davis, just ahead of Corey Alexander now, as he comes through this opening sector. And Rog, when you look at the individual sectors, what's the big difference between, say, Sector 1 and Sector 2 for a rider like Jacobson?
Well, the big part, the first one is really technical. There's a lot of that first part. You got the chicane, and then you got the turn 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then the next part of the track's a little bit quicker. You got the fast uphill right-hander, but it's all about putting it together. We're going to talk about it a lot this weekend. It's just all these corners run together so much where you just got to be precise.
And once they link one into the other, it is always easy to make that mistake, costs you for the next couple of corners and then costs you all the way through. And we can see here the number 4, Josh Hayes, just coming through. Josh has already finished his session as well. He's not out there on a fast lap. 9th fastest for Josh in this one, and able to pick up a race win earlier in the season, but we'll see if he's able to find some time going into tomorrow. Obviously, with a qualifying session tomorrow for all these riders, they'll know that they will have the time to be able to make some steps as well, as Kaylee Yaakov comes through now as well, and For Kayla, her fastest lap of 43.4. That was her last time around. We'll see if she's able to find something here on this lap as well. Hasn't had a personal best in the first 2 sectors, but we'll see if she's able to put something together here in the final sector. But decent effort from Kayla as well, provisionally on that front row of the grid.
Yeah, great day for her. This is going to be such a confidence-building day for Kayla, I think, the way she's been fast every session from start to finish. Jake Lewis down in 8th, a little bit of a surprise. He was 3rd this morning. All the other riders seem like they've been able to make a little bit more improvements than he's made from the first session to this one.
Yeah, some riders able to find a lot of time from this morning into the qualifying session, but we've still got more sessions tomorrow as well as the opening races of the weekend. And for these Supersport riders, they know that there's one man they have to catch, and it's been Matthew Scholz all the way through this weekend. Scholz last year was able to win the championship. This year, second in the standings, 20 points down on PJ Jacobsen. But on the form that he's shown in this one, he's going to claw back some points.
Yeah, he's going to be tough. And just the way he was, we were watching the timing in that qualifier, the way he was able to reel those 42s off, and just his consistency and his race pace.
Yeah, really impressive from the number 1. And that Yamaha R9 is an impressive bit of kit. And for that bike, we didn't see it at Daytona, but we saw it at the opening round of the year for the Supersport class. And it's been really impressive. Obviously in World Supersport as well, it's been the bike to beat. And it's got a lot of things going its way. Triple cylinder machine, but able to give riders a lot of confidence and give a lot of different riders that confidence, Rog.
And they talked a lot about the new bike having more grunt off the corners, a little bit quicker acceleration, and that's what this truck is. It's all about, you know, that mid-range and that acceleration.
Yeah, it's interesting when you talk to the teams. They've all said on the starts that they're able to back-to-back compared to last year. That's where they've noticed a big improvement by a couple of tenths of a second, and it's those few tenths of a second that Scholz has in hand over PJ Jacobsen here at the end of the opening day for the Supersport class, with Blake Davis up there 3rd fastest as well on his Yamaha. Further down, Josh Hayes able to come away with top 3 rows of the grid provisionally as well. Hayes a race winner already this season. Tyler Scott will be the rider we have to keep an eye on for tomorrow to see whether or not he's able to make some improvements on his Suzuki as well. The leading Suzuki, 10th fastest. Alessandro Di Mario, first session on the Supersport machine, and he's able to lap 2.6 seconds off the pace. So decent effort on the 4th row of the grid run.
That's a good lap for him. And Dave Anthony there in 15th. Would expect a little better day tomorrow going into that second qualifier.
Yeah, plenty of time for these riders still to find their improvements before we go racing, but the clock ticks down very quickly, and this 30-minute qualifying session has really been able to show us just where Scholz is compared to everyone else. But 0.3 of a second in hand over PJ Jacobsen, and then at the back of the field, Shane Maggs able to lap on his Yamaha R6, so the older bike on the grid as well. For the Supersport class as well, obviously you're able to play MotoAmerica for cash as well, and check out nxtbets.com/PlayMA, and you'll be able to place your bets on any of these riders. And Matthew Scholz starting off as your clear favourite. PJ Jacobsen, championship leader though, on the podium in every race so far this season, but a little bit of ground to make up right now as well, Raj.
A little bit of ground to make up, and it'd be hard going in after what we've seen today to bet against Matt. But all these riders are so good that they could definitely step up when the race counts. But Matthew Scholz would probably be the guy I'd lay a little money on.
Yeah, definitely. And for Matt Scholz, a new track record out here to lead the way at the end of the opening day at the Ridge Motorsports Park, and we'll be able to hear from him in just a moment down in Park Ferme with Michael Hill.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Down here with the man of the moment, the pole position, provisional pole position, just getting the hat there from his better half. Matthew, not messing around on a Friday, a new circuit record to take provisional pole position. Not a bad afternoon in the office.
Yeah, I mean, a really good qualifying one for us. I set that 42.2 on the first tire, I think it was on lap 8-9, so that really shows that we got good pace. Put on the brand new tire for the second half, trying to set a really quick one, and just got caught up a little bit. So yeah, really hoping to find something, tomorrow in qualifying too. I was having a lot of front end, like pushing a couple of corners, so I had to go back and look at the data, try to fix that. And yeah, I just come out swinging for qualifying too. But I mean, overall happy, and thank you to the team. They've been working hard. We made some major changes from the last race out, and yeah, everything's looking positive for us.
qualifying 2 tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be a little bit warmer. It's a little bit overcast today. A big advantage. You might not know the advantage, but it's well over 0.6 of a second to PJ and Kayla Yakov. And Tyler Scott down in 10th position. So it looks as though it's going to be PJ and Kayla, your closest competition going into tomorrow. Any thoughts about the weather tomorrow?
Not right now. I just kind of go back, look at the data, try to fix the setup, and whether it's cold or warmer, we know we have to pick up the pace. Everybody else will, but overall happy. I'm not sure who was in second. I think you said PJ. Yeah, I know he's going to find some time, so we had to go back and do our homework and try to find something and come out swinging. We are 20 points down in the championship, and really hoping to pull some back this weekend.
Excellent. We'll let you to Parc Ferme. And Steve, he might be 20 points back, but if we know anything from last year, when the gloves go on and the helmets go on, the visors go down, Matthew Scholz versus PJ Jacobsen, throw into the mix Kayla Yakov. It's going to be one hell of a race tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm more interested when the gloves come off between them as well. But for the Strack Racing team, super impressive day as well with that lap record for Matthew Scholz. But Blake Davis, his teammate on the number 22 machine, also up there on that provisional front row of the grid. So great effort on his last lap from Blake Davis with a 43.2, so around about 0.6 of a second slower than his teammate. But the number 22 race winner last time out at Road America is looking fast here once again this weekend.
Yeah, big strides there toward the end of the session there. Left it to Blake, but being on that provisional front row is where he's going to want to be. PJ Jacobsen, we've seen a lot with him first and third sector, really strong. We're saying if he can improve on that second sector, that's where he's missing.
Yeah, that's where PJ seems to just be missing that bit of time. But for the Real team, they're going to be able to find some improvements over the course of this evening. But for Matthew Scholz, we heard him saying that he needs to go back to school a little bit, but he's got that speed and he's got that race pace and consistency here on the number 1 machine. And Matthew Scholz certainly will start tomorrow as the favourite going into qualifying 2.